Oh, how are we going, everyone? I finally got out into the orchard here after so many times I've said I'm going to come out and do some pruning. Well, before I start that, I've got a couple of trees or spots where the trees have died on me for various reasons. This is one of them. There's one over there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 trees that I've got to replace in this section, which I've got sitting in the nursery. Now, in this area here, for those who haven't seen my little orchard before, we've got some great trees and some trees that need some more attention. One over there in particular, the rootstock took off, and it took us that long to realise. That's how often we don't come out here. Just a quick update on that. I can't remember, I should say, what tree it was, but you can see how it's sporting again from the base. That's the rootstock taking off. That was a tree above, and it's hard to tell if it's still alive. Yes, it is. Look how dead and gnarly it is at the moment. That's been attacked by rabbits continuously all over the place. But we've got green growth, so I've just scratched the bark. Have a look at that. It's nice and green underneath there, so that's telling me that come springtime, that's going to jump out for joy. And hopefully, Cara, you're a good girl. That's all you are. Have a look at this. This is what we're talking about, rabbits here. See these holes? There, everywhere. There's divots everywhere in the soil because the bloody rabbits come along and dig. Here's a quick tip. If you've got rabbit problems like we do, cut some branches off your tree when you do your pruning and leave them on the ground. They'll eat buds off those and leave your trees alone. Now, look at this. Look. Have a look at this. Hey, who owns who here, woman? And here come the other two mutts. Really? Seriously? Cara? Thank you. I want my foot back. Thank you very much. No, we're not playing now. All right, stop. Go. 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 No, go. No. Back to the topic. Now, come down here. And what we have here, folks, is irrigation underground. So I've put my dripper line in the past, and here we haven't planted anything, only the grass has grown through the couch. So I'm going to try and get a little tree in this little section here. Now what I'm planting here today is called Sumac. Good family friend of ours gave me the tree a few years ago, 3 of them in fact. 2 of them have been potted up, and this one was always marked to be planted out in the orchard, and I've had it in the pot ever since. Let me show you this little pot here in its miserable state that it is. Okay? Now, if you don't know what sumac is, well, the little that I know about it, apparently it's got a beautiful, beautiful flower on it, and they use it to harvest to make spices, Middle Eastern spices, and they also make a drink out of it, like a lemonade or some sort. I never tried it. I've seen the tree grow. It's got a brilliant red burnt leaf on it. It comes summertime, I think it is. I mean, you get a little bit of that tinge throughout the whole season of growing. And that's the root ball. So this tree is as tough as nails. Sam, if you're watching now, please don't be swearing, okay? Because the other ones are in good health. This one here is going to go in the ground here. And as I said to you, it's going to grow. And come summertime, we'll be coming to harvest here, if not this summer, the following summer. So with this root ball here, for starters, now it is a season to be planting fruit trees and deciduous trees and citrus. It's nice to tease out the roots a little bit. This has got some sandy loam in here, or some sort of potting mix in the past, I think it is. More like sandy loam. You can see all the sand in there. So I'm just teasing the roots out a little bit, and it's quite safe this time of the year to do so. If you find that the roots are wrapping around themselves, if you bought a pot specimen, it's important that you unravel the roots because it will choke itself. It'll keep traveling in a circular formation and eventually give you nothing but grief. See how that one's wrapped up underneath? That's what we're going to do. We're going to open these up carefully, and it's not going to harm the tree at all. It's in fact, if you've got roots like that and you don't do it, you're going to cause more harm to the tree by ignoring them, because as it grows, it will struggle. And I bet some of you can reflect on times where you've planted trees or plants that had a curl in them like that and let it go and then come back, you know, a year, 2, 3 years, 5 years later. And many of you have emailed me about things like that, saying I've planted the tree and it hasn't grown 1 iota. Why? Well, this is one of the reasons. They can get tangled up within itself and choke itself. The other one is obviously the soil conditions that you have in them. Now, the trees that I planted in this orchard, going back 3 or 4 years, approximately 4, were only a twig, literally a stick like this. Most of them probably twice the size, and that's about it, folks. And they've only had 2 feeds in their lifetime being in the ground. So the first one was the compost planting mix and the mulch that we put on top, and the second one was a top dress just with fertilizer, superfood and black grit. Now it's time to top dress them all, and I haven't done it yet because I've got no time. I've got to make time somehow. Anyway, let's plant this one. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not using a shovel, it's called lazy. That's what it is. Simple, outright lazy, because I've just dug about 20 holes around the house just for fun. Let's see what it feels like being a rabbit. Now, if you're wondering about all this cooch and weeds, I'd be wondering too if I was watching this little video saying, what is he doing? Well, in the past, I would come out here and meticulously rip out every strand of cooch and weed within a diameter, 1 meter diameter space of where the tree's going or the plant's going, so that the roots don't compete against the grasses and the other plants growing in there. Now you can see the soil here is sandy. It's just sandy loam. There's nothing in it at all. So we need to regenerate the soil. We've got to get the microbes activated so the microflora starts to populate in the ground. And the only way we're going to do that is by putting some great organic matter into it. And what I'm putting in here today is going to be our planting mix, because it's got everything a plant needs to kickstart the life in the soil, and obviously in turn feed the plant so it can grow big, strong and healthy. But for now, let's keep drilling. And as I was saying, normally I'd remove all the roots about 1 meter diameter and then just fill it up with fresh soil, throw the old soil out and start again. Well, no, that's a thing of the past for me. And I've done my trials and experiences and seen the results in it, and it's, you don't have to put that so much hard labour into it and be so pedantic. Look, unless you hate your weeds or grasses growing near your tree, purely on an aesthetic level, that you can do what you like there. But if it's about growing plants in a space of soil that's going to be full of life, well, you need multi-species. And whether you like it or not, the grass and some of the weeds that grow around here, or any of the weeds and flowering plants, are all different species, and together they populate the microbe flora, which in turn gives life to your plant. So here, what I've done is just removed enough so I can plant in that space. I'm going to spread the rest of the grass away from the area, and the grass is going to grow back anyway, folks. So provided you give the plant the nutrients it needs so it can look after itself, you know, you're not going to have a problem with the weeds like that. And obviously the hydration. You're all looking at it and thinking, what a joke this guy is, eh? Yeah. Sometimes my wife says that too. What are you doing? Come out here, that's it. Now I'm holding planting mix here, right? And I haven't dug a hole there. Look at that, it's only a little, you know, a little divot in the ground. I've loosened it up and it's all staying in there. Even some of the weeds are in there. I'm not fussed about them one iota. If you are, take them out. Well, I'm gonna just do this, fill it up with the planting, and I'm gonna spread it everywhere. It's not gonna stay like that, folks. You know, I can plant straight over the top of that, you know, and none the wiser. I'm just gonna spread it around like this. This stuff is magic for life. Look at this, look at that mycelium kicking into gear. All that white stuff is not a bad thing, it's actually a good thing, eh, Cara? No, no, I don't want lickies on camera. People are going to start talking. No, go away. All right, so you want some quality stuff. If you can get your hands on our planting mix, and we're going to get it out to the garden centres because they're coming out in a labelled bag, folks. So make sure you start asking for Vasili's planting mix if you want to start planting in your garden, or even just top dressing it. Now I'm just going to do this by hand so I can do it a bit slower and you can see what's happening. I'm mixing it through. Yeah, take some of the weeds out if you want. And that's going into the existing soil, or sandy loam in this case. And we're just blending it all through together. What am I doing? Well, I'm basically feeding life, and I'm feeding the life in the soil by putting all this beautiful organic matter into it. And what this organic matter consists of, for those who want to know, is compost, cocoa, black grit, superfood, worm castings, charcoal, cow manure, rice hulls in there as well. Now that combination there we found to be a beautiful blend, and it's a blend, or you know, specific amount or ratio of each ingredient that we brought it to this level where we just find it succeeds with 99.9% of your plants. So that's down. Spread it out lightly. You can be a bit more pedantic in the finish of it, but that's mine. And now we're going to get this poor little sucker. Now if you've got a plant like this and it's looking really tired, this has been watered before, but we've taken all the soil off. You can soak it in a bucket of liquid gold, our seaweed solution, for, you know, half an hour to an hour, no more than that really, at the end of the day, and then plant it in. Well, if you can't be bothered doing that, well, just do what I'm doing. Now find the hole, the irrigation's there. Now we're going to try and stretch out these roots a little bit You don't really need to cut them because they're not that bad. So they're going outwards a little bit. There. Now shake some soil into it, or throw some soil I should say rather. This is going to probably need a stake. Now I'm going to use my fingers carefully just to push into the gaps in the air pockets between the roots. And this is probably going to need a stake too, which I didn't prepare myself to do. And it's probably going to need some mesh to stop the rabbits coming over and saying, look, new food. That's that there. Now what that needs is a water. Then we're going to put our mulch on top. Now folks, don't do what I do. And I'm not talking about the planting, I'm talking about planting mix or any growing medium you buy. If you're going to buy something and store it for 2 or 3 months, don't buy it. I mean, look, if you're trying to buy it for a special, on a special rate and all things like that, that's fine. Try and, cash in on it and take advantage of the specials, especially when we do them too, because they're really low sometimes. But if you are going to buy a planting mix or any sort of potting mix or compost, keep it in a dry, dark place and it's constant temperature. You don't want it exposed. Now, the bag that I brought over to you here earlier already had an opening on it. So I can give you the backstory on it. It's been sitting in that ride-on trailer for probably 3 weeks, opened, out in the elements, so it has dehydrated a little bit, even though, look, it's absorbed it now, and you can see all the air pockets, all the cavities underneath, even with the water pressure, it's caused it to sink down. So we want it to soak through. And a couple of goes of watering, you can rehydrate it, because what happens is the water tension on the surface of every little particle becomes harsh or dry to the point where it doesn't crust over so much as so it won't allow water to penetrate through. It's like an old dry sponge. So when you've got a dehydrated garden bed and you add water to it, it takes a little bit of time for the water to crack through that water tension or surface tension. But once it does and hydrates and goes into it, then you're laughing your way through it. So hydrating can take a little bit of time. So quality planting mix, compost, cocoa, or other, whatever they are, will all dehydrate if you leave them in storage for more than a month, 2 months. And that's not what you want to do. And if you do, keep them in a dry, dark place so they don't get exposed to the elements. So we've got water going in here, and we've soaking this well. One more go, let it go through. Yeah, it's soaking through, you can see it, look at that. So it's actually holding water now because it's nice and hydrated underneath. So there you are. It's nice and wet. This will settle on its own. You don't need to press it, folks. That's the last thing you've got to do. Just let it hydrate and compact on its own. The bag that I've been using here are the bags that the staff have told me I'm allowed to use only, not the new bags, not the fresh stuff, because if anybody who's been here or those who've come to our workshops and our fruit tree pruning, by the way, we're about to launch them soon, so stay tuned if you want to come to one of our classes. Nearly run out of air there. So they've seen them. We've got bags here always coming in fresh every week. So that's what we're sending out. But if I was to take one from those fresh piles, I would put the stock levels out of whack and I'd be hunted down by the team in that warehouse over there. So I'm only allowed to take the bags that they allocate and put my name on them. And they're the ones that have been cracked open, torn or something. Nothing wrong with the stuff inside, but it's been in storage for too long. And that's my bad. So I should do what my young son just said to me. Real smart thing. Chuck it in the compost pile and let it decompose with the rest of the organic matter that I put in there, and then put it out in your garden. So if you've got really old stuff and it's like really past its use by date, preferably nothing with slow release fertilizers and synthetic fertilizers in them, throw them in your compost bin, mix them through and let it break down, and then take that and put it into your garden. That's a good way to dispose of old bags of whatever you've got, rather than trying to use them in the garden. This bag here was probably 2 or 3 weeks on the ride on there with the cracked open cover, and obviously with the elements of wind and all that, it's caused it to dehydrate, but that's nothing wrong. We've hydrated it. Look what I get. I get leftover superfood as well, folks. I'm not allowed to crack a new bucket open. I have to get the stuff that's been thrown in the bucket for me. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just been, I don't know. I don't even know what's wrong with it. There's a bit of plastic in here. That's all it is. It looks like somebody dropped some and they scraped it up and said, here, Vasily. Now I'm putting this on top. I don't know why, but I'm doing it because I just thought about it. Can put it underneath, but that's your superfood. Look at me go crazy here. Now I'm just going to, I haven't got a rose on this because they tend to break too easily. So just using my hand to sprinkle water over that. and we're expecting rain tonight, so the perfect time to be planting your fruit trees or anything else in the garden that you love to see growing. So, if you're looking to plant some fruit trees, go to your local garden centre, have a look around and find some crazy trees that you've never grown before, and plenty of dwarf varieties as well, folks. So for those who've got small spaces, no excuses. You've got super dwarf and dwarf varieties where you can grow them in pots and in the ground, and they never get bigger than 1.5 meters, 2 meters maximum. Or otherwise, get out in your garden and look around and see what's going on as far as life, and see what life you can find in your soil. Preferably the stuff that actually looks after your plants, not kills them. So the sumac tree's in the ground now, folks, and I've got another 180 trees or so to do, but I think I might be using the bobcat for that one there. I'm not going to destroy my back, and lots of broken bags of planting mix, I hope. Check out our website, vasilisgarden.com. The planting mix, compost and coca are getting into their new labelled bags, so we're still running those clean skin. I know we've been dragging it out only because the manufacturing has been delayed, but now we know they're on their way and the bags are getting filled. Take advantage of the specials on those clear bags, because once they go in the clean bags, new processing, we even might go down to the site and show you how we make all the stuff so you can better understand where all the inputs come from. It's all on vasilisgarden.com. From me, Vasili, Maresi.